all have a story to tell. I'm the eldest of 6. I don't have a 16 and 11 and 12 in the family, but we have 6 of us. And of the 6 of us, I'm the only one that education was not important to me. But the rest of my family are all educators, have doctor's degrees, and all that goes along with that. I think I would start that when I was 7 years old, I was raped. Not by a family member, but by a stranger. And at that time in life, when you're 7 years old, that's when your mind is a sponge and you're just taking in all of this. And back in the day, they did not have the programs like they have now. So therefore, I was told not to say anything about it, to keep it quiet. What stayed in, what happened, happened. And so it took me many, many, many years. I would say a little over 60 years. I know I look 29, but a little over 60 years to figure out what that pie was that was missing. And that was that I did not realize until I heard a commercial on the radio that about being a sponge when you're 7 years old, that I realized that I had erased the skills that were taught to me, at the same time erasing the rape. And I just never knew what it was or anything. All I knew, I had this pie, but there was just one piece of that pie that was missing. And I couldn't figure out what it was. My family did not recognize what it was at that time. The teachers did not recognize. All I know is I was a good class clown. I was good. If you're going to do something, be good at it. So I was a good class clown, and I figured that because I couldn't do the grammar and what have you, so if I kept the teacher engaged and talking to me and telling me to be quiet, that would throw her off from what she was doing and teaching. My mother spent about 4 out of the 5 days at school every year, every week at school, because I was always talking. And she had to come to the office. I had a permanent seat in the office. And she was going to move her office to our office at the school because that's where I was. But I was very popular. I went to a predominantly white school, very popular there. Was very excellent in sports. And I would do things like when we have to have tests. See, back then, teachers, they used to give a class a test and skip this class and then give it to the next class, so the same test would go around. So I'd always find out what the answers on the test was going to be. And so I would write it on my arms, on my hands, my shoes, just anything that I could get them going on. And basically I was a push through. I was just lost in the cracks. It's just as simple as that. And so, in doing that, I graduated with my class. I had a child out of wedlock, and I've been married 50 years. And so I just could not get that grammar and that reading and writing down. Talked a lot. I had enough sense to know how to put myself in front of people that knew how to do those things. And when I had to become a secretary of something like in church or at the school, I was fortunate enough I did not have to work while my children were in school, so I was able to spend time with them in school until they got into high school. But I would have like a person sitting on this side and a person sitting on that side. They would do the writing and I would be doodling like I was writing. And then if they asked, secretary, would you read that? Oh my God, read what? And then I said, what did our brother say? So they're talking out the side of their mouths and I'm listening and repeating as they go along. That's how I made it. I just faked it, and faking it was not making it. And so where I worked, I had the same situation. I was a supervisor, and I had, no one knew. I mean, when I tell you, no one knew that I had this problem. I was married 7 years before my husband found out that I could not read or write. And so what I would do, when the kids came home from school, I would say, your dad will help you, you know, and just went on about my business because I was integrating him with the family. And so I'm thinking all this time that I had fooled my children who are grown and now my grandparents by these children. I thought that I had fooled them all these years. And then a few years ago, oh, Mom, we knew you couldn't, but we just didn't say anything to you about it because you were a mom that stayed home, you were a mom that came to school, you were there at school whenever we needed you, and our friends whose mothers did not go to the school, you were there to be there as their mother as well. So I thought I had pulled something over on them all these years and found out that it was in reverse. So, but as I was working, one of my coworkers came to me and she said, you know, you need to go to this literacy program. I said, yeah, okay, all right. I did this for many, many years. Yeah, okay, all right. And so I knew that I had to read, and that was not, I was not about to go sit down and read. And I knew I had to write. I wasn't going to do that, so I just said, yeah, okay. So then one day she came into the office. Now, I'm her supervisor. She's retired off another job, and this is her second job. So she brought me this paper, and it happened to be at the library where she works at Lee. And she says, I want you to take this paper and call this number now and make an appointment. I said, oh, I can't do that. I said, they work from 8 to 5 or something like that. That's when I work. I'm always coming up with an excuse of why not. And so she says, well, I'll tell you what. You pick up that phone, make that phone call, and I'll cover for you if your boss calls you. So I made that phone call. And it's maybe about 25 minutes from my job to where this library was. And I'm thinking I'm going to get in trouble, something's going to happen, I'm not where I should be. All those things are going, I can't explain anything. So when I walked in, I was very much afraid, very, very much afraid. I was really, really ashamed because this many people knew about my life, all of my life, that many people. That's how close I kept my circle. But I was so ashamed when I went in there that here's a lady in her 40s going up to try to get some help and tell somebody I can't spell, read, or write. I didn't know how to even get the words out of my mouth. And so they tested me, and she says, well, you're borderline. And I said, I need this help. Can you help me? I'm ready to get this help. So what she did, she let me go through the program. And I went through the program, and the first tutor I had was not a good tutor. She would come in, tell me about her kids. I didn't want to hear about her kids. She would tell me what she did at work. I didn't want to hear about what she did at work. And tell me what she did over here at the church. As much as I love the Lord, I didn't want to hear that. I wanted to hear what I needed. I came here for me. Then after she got through telling me all that, then she decided she'd go to sleep on me. Oh, you know, I'm spending 2 hours sitting up here listening to you and your family problems, and then you gonna go to sleep after that. I don't want to hear this. So I was really upset because I personally was ready, and I felt that this was another setback. So I go back to the director and I said, I don't know what kind of tutors you have, but let me tell you what this one is doing. So she says, okay, we'll get you another tutor, which I did. I got another tutor, which was very vibrant and just got my juices running of something that I was hungry for and really wanted. And I just, you know, put forth the effort. I'm going to go through with it. Like you say, some people go through a little bit of something and then they stop. But I said, I'm going all the way, whatever this takes. So I got involved in that. I was there for a couple of years. I've been in this program for 100 years. Anyhow, after a couple of years, then she told me they told me that I had to go to college. And I said, I can't go to college. I graduated, I have my diploma, but I cannot go to college. They are so far advanced in me. I said they'd never get through laughing at me, and I'd sit so far in the back that they would never see me. They wouldn't know I was there. So they just kept on, and forced me to go. So I went, and when I stepped on that campus, I was just, one leg wouldn't, you know, I couldn't move. I was just afraid because I was, in my mind, people that went to college were A and B students. I was a DF student. So there was no place for me there, but I went to college. And believe it or not, outside of high school, that's the only place I got an A in a class. I got it in high school in physical ed because I and I was really afraid, and the teacher I had was just a wonderful teacher. He came to me and he says, what do you like to do? I said, oh, I like to shop, I like to travel, and just went through all these different things that I really like to do. He said, well, you know what? That's what I want you to do in this class. I want you to have fun here. I want you to relax. I know you have a job, I know you have family, and you're coming here at night to go to school or whatever. I want you to relax. And so when I got my first grade and got it, I just, oh God, I thought I had arrived. But it took me all these years. But I want to just digress a little bit about the spelling. When I was 16 years old, I got me my driver's license. And my stepfather took me to get the driver's license. And I signed on there, Faye 11, Waker. And he said, what is your middle name? I said, Faye Evelyn Waker. He said, well, why did you write down 11? I said, because they both begin with EL. And that was all I knew. So we had to go back and redo so I could get some good license, because there's no such thing as a Faye 11. So I had these different types of problems. When it came time to vote, my husband would fill out the ballot, and I'd sign it. I didn't know who I was voting for. Didn't make any sign on the dotted line. And that's what I did. Since coming to the literacy program, I have learned a whole lot. I cannot give back to the literacy what it has given to me. I just cannot. But I'm going to try everything that I can to do so. But I learned about the Easy Voter Guide. And that's a guide that's for persons with low literacy skills to be able to vote. And it makes it easy for you to know why you're voting, who you're voting for, where the money is, where the money is going, let you know whether you want to vote for these different propositions and things like that. So I learned that, and then I got involved in an organization called Value, which is Voice for Adult Learners, which I really, really hope that all of you will join and be a member, $20 a year, wonderful organization, good president. My director's back there all the way from Pennsylvania come to support me. That's Mr. Marty Bush. And so I got on this board and I became the secretary. And then after I got to be the secretary, I said, I can't write. What do they want me to do? And so I got really paranoid, and he would ask me, he would ask me, you know, what did we say? And I said, oh God, I got to go through my head, right? And act like we had things done. Then, next thing you know, I become president. And this is the only organization that's alumni run by students.